nonprofit.
Now, the news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
We'll have the latest on that plane crash near Washington, D.C. in just a moment, but starting off this morning, weather-wise, not too bad out there.
Yeah, a little cold, but dry, and we'll expect more dry weather throughout the day today. Quick difference compared to yesterday, that's for sure. Let's take a look at those current conditions out there right now. We're starting out with a -4 wind chill in Rome right now. A few still lingering lake effect snow showers falling in Hamilton as we speak, but take a look at Saranac, like a -14 wind chill up north, -6 up in Watertown. And then a slightly warming trend as you turn the attention to the south. Now, as you approach the west part of New York State, that's where you see those wind chills a little warmer. We got those less strong winds or weaker winds moving in. So if you're wondering about the wind conditions today, it will not be nearly as windy as yesterday. The radar picking up just some very faint signatures of lake effect in parts of the southern valleys and a very faint band just north of the Mohawk Valley. But besides that, today expect temperatures to start out in the teens and single digits. Wind chills a little cooler, but warm into the 20s by this afternoon with mainly quiet weather. So no impacts expected for your morning or evening commute aside from just some icy spots on untreated surfaces. Watch out for that. Some of that snow melt yesterday did refreeze. But besides that, we are tracking our next opportunity for rain and snow tomorrow. We'll have the latest on the path of that system straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. We are continuing to follow.
Download the Storm Tracker 2 app. Free to install. Use the icons on the bottom to navigate between tabs. Get instant weather updates and alerts right on your phone. Storm Tracker 2, where we track storms.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Thursday morning after a very busy day yesterday with snow squalls, whiteouts. There's some good news if you're heading out to work or putting your kids in the school bus today. No more snow squalls expected. Now let's take a look at those road conditions out there right now. First off, a look at Boonville, New Hartford, Bridgewater, and Herkimer, all those roads. Still some snow accumulated on some of them, but for the most part, there's no more additional snowfall. So as long as you take it easy, you'll get to work just fine. Main roads, however, are completely clear of snow as we speak. Now on top of that, although the main roads are dry, there's still the potential for some icy spots on untreated surfaces. So watch out as you head out your house early this morning. Besides that, though, we are tracking still some lingering lake effect flurries and snow bands, which are coming to an end early this morning. And besides that, road conditions, as you can see here, a lot more green. A few spots in those higher elevations, still slightly snow covered. But besides that, road conditions will gradually improve throughout the morning and afternoon. So again, watch out for icy spots early today. No reduction in visibility. And this afternoon, a few flurries and dry roads are expected. Gary?
Eric, thanks. The Herkimer County Chamber of Commerce didn't need...
Get your WKTV golf card today.
Don't let the weather spoil your day. Watch for the Storm Tracker 2 Commutecast and be ready for your drive to and from work. The Storm Tracker 2 Commutecast is brought to you by the Pratt Munson College of Art and Design. Visit Pratt Munson today and ignite curiosity and creativity.
It started as a way to raise awareness in our community, stopping at area schools and educating children. It grew into the largest fundraiser for missing and exploited children. But along the way, friends are made, goals are met, lives are changed. Is this the year you take part in the Ride for Missing Children? Log on today and become part of the team. The Ride for Missing Children, Mohawk Valley, Friday, June 6th.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Today, cold start, but we're not tracking any snow squalls or whiteout conditions throughout the entire day today. in fact, almost a complete opposite, quiet weather. Let's take a look outside right now. Downtown Utica, main roads out there early this morning. A little wet, but snow-free. Some side roads and less traveled roads, you might deal with still some of those, maybe on a very fine layer of snow and potentially ice on them, but most of them are treated, and of course you should have very little, if any, impacts on your drive to work today. The radar right now still showing some lingering lake effect to our south and to our west, but besides that, things are quieting down, and we'll remain to see quiet weather for much of the day today as high pressure moves in temporarily. However, our next system will arrive from the southwest in the form of a coastal low pressure that we will see by tomorrow. So again, today, quiet weather expected. Still a cold one though. So if you're heading out the door this morning, maybe grab that large coffee. Temperature of 6 degrees with frigid weather across the board. And speaking of those temperatures, today the climb only into the mid-20s with those wind chills in the upper teens. And notice here with the difference in wind chill and temperature getting smaller and smaller, it means that those winds are diminishing throughout the day today. Now, another thing to mention too is that with all this snow we've seen, it's a bit weird to realize that this is what we usually see in wintertime, with a snowfall departure of just over 2 inches below average, which at least at that point I would just call it near average. Regardless, this is a winter we haven't quite experienced in several years, and a bit of a reality check to realize that this is pretty much at least what we used to experience. And we'll see if the rest of the winter does shape up this way, but this January has been one that we've been missing for quite some time. The satellite, or at least the SkyCast imagery right now showing clouds to our south shifting their way north by the afternoon, with a few flurries coming to an end and temperatures peaking in the mid-20s by this evening. We actually warm up overnight tonight, and then by tomorrow morning it's a 35-degree start to your day in the Mohawk Valley, with rain showers developing by the late morning and early afternoon. Following that rain switches over to wet snow by the evening, and then that snow does come to an end by around midnight. Regarding accumulations, I do think that we'll see maybe 2 to 4 inches of wet snow. However, it's going to take a little bit for that snow to accumulate on roadways due to the fact that it'll be warm and it will immediately be wet from those rain showers. Your 7-day forecast: following Friday, we have a dip down into the teens again Saturday with sunshine. Groundhog Day, 27 with a few flurries, and then warming up again on Monday, high of 39 with a mix of rain and snow. Gary?
Eric, thanks. The time right now is 5:21. Still ahead on Sunrise. Changes to
January 30th, 2025.
Now, the news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this Thursday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And quieter morning than yesterday, right?
Yes, that's for sure. Waking up and not having to deal with snow squalls and all that sort. Probably a bit less strenuous on those who have to put their kids in the school bus. This morning, yes, it's a cold one, so bundle up your kids this morning. But besides that, a few lingering lake effect flurries to the south are going to gradually come to an end. Temperature of 4 degrees in Rome, 4 degrees below zero in Rome, I should say, 6 in Hamilton, and -6 in Watertown with those wind chills. And those wind chills, by the way, will gradually weaken as we head throughout the morning, with high pressure moving its way back in from the west. A live look at the Artful Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. Again, some of these snow bands are falling underneath the radar scans, as with a lot of these events that have happened over the past several weeks. Regardless, the lake effect snow you can see here will gradually shift, producing some light flurries as it moves its way back up north again this afternoon. But the main cause, or at least the main effect from the snow band, will be clouds here in central New York. So temperatures initially very cold this morning, will peak in the 20s by this afternoon. Following that, we'll see a warm up tonight and then a return to rain and eventually snow tomorrow. We'll have a look at that latest trend of a coastal system in that full forecast straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Now to more on the breaking news out of
2 is brought to you by Holland Farms Bakery and Deli.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Thursday morning. Our photo of the day today takes us to Otsego, and this was a photo that was submitted to us with a question asking what these were in the field outside their house. This was taken by Sarah, and the question was, they looked somewhat like small igloos. These are called snow rollers, and we were waiting for more photos of them yesterday. The conditions were primed for it. You get extremely strong winds aided with that snow, and what it does is that wind actually peels off a layer of snow in open fields and coils them up, kind of like bales of hay, until it produces these snow rollers in the fields right there. So if you're wondering what they were, if you're out looking in a field and you see a bunch of these little things, those are caused by that strong wind. And of course, the official term is a snow roller. So if you would like to submit a photo like this one, any winter photos, any more snow sculpture photos as well, or snowmen, we have more of them on our website, and we'll of course try our best to share them with the next couple of weeks at WKTV.com/weather/pics. This morning, the radar is nowhere near as busy as yesterday, and although we're still tracking some isolated lake effect snow, that will be gradually coming to an end and weakening as we head throughout the day today. Now, the temperatures this morning still very cold. We'll warm up a little bit this afternoon, but we are looking at the arrival of some more rain, yes, rain and snow tomorrow. We'll have details on that forecast straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Tax season is underway. The IRS...
13. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone. This Thursday, a little bit less busy. In fact, greatly less busy compared to yesterday, with quiet conditions out there right now. A live look at downtown Utica. Overcast skies, a few spots of lake effect flurries still sticking around, but the main thing, though, those temperatures this morning still rather cold. The radar, again, as I mentioned previously, some lake effect snow banding taking place to the south. The snowfall at this point doesn't appear to be that intense, but still most of the area will see these snow showers weaken as we head throughout the day today. As we zoom out in the larger scale side of things, we'll still be dealing with some lingering cloud cover throughout the day today, as this system to our south and west will gradually bring in warmer temperatures, and then eventually some rain and snow by your Friday. But again, early today, the temperatures are still cold in the single digit with wind chills, some spots below zero. So great morning to grab that extra large or just large coffee to warm yourself up this morning. And throughout the day today, those temperatures still will remain rather cold, with the wind chills in the upper teens, low 20s, and temperatures on paper in the mid 20s. Now, with the snow we saw yesterday, our season snowfall total to date is 54.5 inches. This is more than what we saw all winter long last year, and it's not even February yet. So if you're wondering just the comparison compared to last winter, that's where it is. We're still right around average for typical winters here in central New York. Believe it or not, this is what winters usually were like. Of course, a lot of you remember, but now we're finally starting to experience wintertime yet again here in central New York. By the way, the average this time of year is at 56.6. So again, just around a 2-inch departure from average. And so in our Skycast today, no more additional accumulations of snow are expected. Still a few flurries passing through our region as that snow band shifts to our north. Following that, cloudy skies this evening and tonight, turning to some partial clearing, but mainly those temperatures are the big story. Warming up overnight into the mid-30s by your Friday morning, so a big difference tomorrow morning temperature-wise compared to today. Regardless, rain begins to move in. Yes, widespread rain moves in, then switching over to wet snow as those temperatures fall by 5 p.m. onward. So again, you could encounter some wet snow for your evening commute. How much snow? Well, still a bit difficult to pinpoint, but for now we could be experiencing roughly 1 to 4 inches of wet snow on the ground. The snowfall initially, it might be difficult for it to accumulate on roadways due to the warmer temperatures and recent rainfall for Friday morning. Regardless, excuse me, temperatures in the 30s Friday, a major cool down back into the teens on Saturday. Groundhog Day, 27 the high with some snow showers and a mix of rain and snow as we turn the page to Monday. Gary?
Thanks. It's an infectious disease 2025.
Now, the news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Gary Liberatore. We'll have more on the plane crash in just a bit, but to start your morning off this morning, a lot less snowy, but very cold.
Yes, quiet weather, but cold and quiet weather today. In fact, let's take a look at those conditions out there right now. We are starting out with a wind chill of -1 in Rome, but if you decided to wake up in Watertown today, -22-degree wind chill, my goodness, that just plummeted very quickly. Of course, you're getting these stronger winds directly off of Lake Ontario as we speak. -16 wind chill in Saranac Lake, but notice to our southwest. That's where those wind chills are not nearly as cold, and that's due to the winds that will be gradually calming throughout the day today. Around the state, those temperatures, or at least wind speeds, will be a bit less active compared to the winds out to the east. And on top of that, regarding any snowfall, this was a much different scene yesterday morning. However, today, aside from some lingering light lake effect, by the way, this appears to be some lake enhancement from one of the Finger Lakes out there in parts of Shenango County. That's interesting to see there. But regardless, in central New York here today, those snow bands are isolated and weak. Now, the next 12 hours, expect some peaks of sunshine mixed in with cold starts to your day. Then by the afternoon, highs in the 20s. We will be seeing a brief warm-up as we head into tomorrow with initially quiet weather turning over to rain and then wet snow. So we are looking at a major shift in the weather pattern, on and off, changes back and forth. We'll, of course, break down the latest in that system tomorrow coming up in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. We are continuing to follow the breaking.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. The time now is 6:13, and heading out the door early today, well, you might encounter some snow-covered roadways on those less traveled roads, but besides that, the main roads are looking rather okay. In fact, let's take a look at a few of them right now, updated as we speak. Herkimer roads are treated, they are plowed, they are clear, at least the main roads along Route 5 in that intersection of Caroline. And then finally in Bridgewater, wet roadways, same thing in New Hartford, but still some side roads might still have some light snow coating the top of the surface. The radar still picking up some light lake effect to our south and to our west, but besides that, things are starting to quiet down regarding any additional snowfall as we speak. Regardless, heading out the door this morning, even though there's no more additional snowfall, as I mentioned, some of those side roads will still have a thin layer of snow. So there are some slowdowns, especially in those hilltops, and including some sections of Route 20 just to the east of Winfield. Now, today, a few lingering flurries coming to an end. Icy spots as well. Watch out for that on untreated surfaces. But this afternoon, dry weather. Temperatures climbing into the 20s with a few flurries, but pretty much most of that active weather is coming to an end. But we are tracking the arrival of more rain and snow tomorrow. The details straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. The Herkimer County Chamber of Commerce.
Get your WKTV golf card today.
Don't let the weather spoil your day. Watch for the Storm Tracker 2 Commutecast and be ready for your drive to and from work. The Storm Tracker 2 Commutecast is brought to you by the Pratt Munson College of Art and Design. Visit Pratt Munson today and ignite curiosity and creativity. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone. Today, starting out very cold, but a lot less snowy compared to yesterday. Let's take a look at downtown Utica right now, where roadways are clear, at least along Oriskany Boulevard, facing the eastern sky, and still some low-lying clouds over the city as we speak. The radar right now also showing mainly quiet weather, just a snow band to our south and to our west, and a very faint snow signature north of the Mohawk Valley, which appears to have come to an end over the past hour. Now, zooming out, this is a break in the active weather here locally across upstate New York and pretty much the state in general. However, as we approach the next 24 hours, this south wind begins to move in. We'll gradually bring up those temperatures later on tonight and tomorrow and bring with it the chance for rain. Yes, it's not been common to see rain here in the past couple of weeks, but here we are with warm up on the way. But today, though, still remains relatively cold, so grab that large coffee. Temperature is in the teens right now. Frigid conditions early this morning, and by this afternoon, we'll see those wind chills climb into the upper teens to low 20s, with the temperature on paper in the mid-20s. So still a colder day today. Bundle up with those extra layers if you wish, but at least nowhere near the Arctic levels we saw a few weeks ago. With the snowfall we saw yesterday, Utica's total climbed to 54.5 inches. This is already reaching and surpassing the total snowfall we saw all of last winter. So to give you an idea of just how not snowy it was last year, we're now just 2 inches, just over 2 inches below average for this season snowfall. Typical season snowfall sitting at 56.6 inches to date. So we are approaching an average winter. Yes, this is what winters used to be like. I know it's been a couple of years since we've experienced one, but of course it's great news, especially for those local businesses that rely on this snowfall, especially up in the North Country. Regardless, today temperatures will climb as high as the mid-20s by the daylight hours, and then by tonight, believe it or not, we continue to warm up from the 20s up into the 30s by your Friday morning. So a big difference tomorrow morning with those temperatures compared to today. Dry weather turns rainy by Friday afternoon, then that rain switches over to wet snow by your evening commute Friday. Regarding accumulations, again, it's still a bit hit or miss right now, but what we can tell you is expect some of that snowfall to not stick initially due to the wet roads and warm temperatures, but roughly maybe 1 to 4 inches of accumulation. We'll fine-tune that forecast. That's not set in stone just yet. Your 7-day forecast, high 37 tomorrow, cooling back down into the teens on Saturday and Groundhog Day, 27 the high with snow showers, and then a rain-snow mix returns again on Monday. Gary?
37 tomorrow.
37, then a low of -1 Saturday night, so quite a difference.
Yeah, roller coaster. Well, be sure to like us on Facebook and follow.
The news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning once again, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And quite a bit chilly, especially up north, right?
Yes, those wind chills, -22 potentially up in Watertown.
Wow.
Very cold. In fact, let's take a look at that map in full screen right now. We can see that, yes, -22 in Watertown. That's not a typo. That's a very cold wind chill up there. But here locally, a little warmer, a balmy -1 wind chill here in the Mohawk Valley. 4 degrees in Rome and 6 as you head down to Binghamton in the southern tier, but -16 up in the Adirondacks at Saranac Lake. Now, we are still tracking at least some weather stations reporting some lake effect snow. It's not over and done with, but it will gradually come to an end as we head throughout the morning today. Those wind speeds also still a little breezy this morning, but again, those winds will gradually weaken as we head throughout the day today. Radar also picking up on that lake effect snow as we speak to our south. It's very faint signatures. In fact, I do see a very faint band of lake effect right here, right along Route 20. You can see that passing snow shower right there. It's below the radar scan, so a bit difficult to see, but regardless, these snow bands are still lingering, but again, they will come to an end and weaken later on in the day today. Next 12 hours, we'll see opportunities for peaks of sunshine and temperatures to climb as high as the mid-20s. Now, we're warming up again even more tonight with a mild start to your day tomorrow, and then the return to some rain. Yes, rain. We haven't seen that in quite a while. Switching over to wet snow as we turn the page tomorrow evening. We'll, of course, break down the latest in that forecast straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Now to more on the breaking news.
Download the Storm Tracker 2 app. Free to install. Use the icons on the bottom to navigate between tabs. Get instant weather updates and alerts right on your phone. Storm Tracker 2, where we track storms.
Lead Car Honda of Yorkville is proud to serve those who served with the second annual Thank a Veteran Breakfast, Saturday, February 15th at the Utica Elks Lodge. Every veteran in attendance will receive a free breakfast as a thank you for their service. A $10 donation for all non-veterans. Join us from 9 a.m. to noon for coffee, eggs, bacon, sausage, the works. All proceeds benefit the Utica Center for Development Veterans Outreach Center. The second annual Lead Car Honda of Yorkville Thank a Veteran Breakfast. Brought to you by the Utica Elks Lodge number 33 and WKTV News Channel 2.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Thursday morning. Our photo of the day today takes us to Otsego. This photo right here is one of snow rollers. The question was submitted to us on the website asking what were these igloo-looking things here in the field, and this is driven by strong winds, very strong winds like what we saw yesterday, which basically they push the layer of snow, curl them up like a roll, and then pull them out into the field like what you see here. So if you're wondering what those little roll-looking things are in open fields, those are officially called snow rollers, and this is, of course, taken in Otsego. If you have any winter photos you would like to share, both either of this, of a winter sculpture, snow sculpture, snowman, anything that you think could brighten someone's day, you can send it to WKTV.com/weather/pics. This morning, the radar, thankfully, not nearly as busy as yesterday morning, so impacts to travel nowhere near as intense as yesterday as well. Still some lingering lake effect snow bands, but those will, of course, weaken throughout the morning, and we are tracking a return to warmer temperatures tomorrow morning, followed by a rain switch over to snow. We'll have the details on that for tomorrow coming up in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Tax season is underway. The IRS began accepting and processing tax returns.
Most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. Today, starting out colder, but more quiet weather-wise compared to yesterday. Let's take a live look at downtown Utica right now. I'm keeping a close eye on this cloud layer right now. I want to let you guys know ahead of time if you're going to see a good sunrise. The sun angle would be more towards the southwest. Off screen right now, I'm looking at the satellite, which shows the clouds which are passing pretty much directly in line with the Mohawk Valley, with clear skies to the north and cloudy skies to the south. So for now, I'm not 100% confident we'll see a nice sunrise, but we'll monitor this as the sun continues to rise and the twilight turns to daylight. The radar still showing some lingering lake effect snow bands in parts of the southern valleys as we speak. Some of these snow bands are very thin in nature, but the snowfall, at least inside them, for as far as we can tell, are not appearing to be that significant. And this is all driven by the westerly wind, which will eventually shift to a more southerly wind by this afternoon and this evening, with temperatures initially very cold this morning, climbing up into the 20s by this afternoon. So again, early today, with those wind chills near zero, grab that large coffee. Temperature at 10 degrees in Rome, frigid conditions, but it's dry out there today as well. So you don't maybe quite need that extra large to prepare for that morning commute drive. Regardless, though, we climb into the mid-20s this afternoon, wind chills upper teens, low 20s. So a colder day today, but a dry one for the most part. And while things are quieting down, we can finally just take a step back and recap what we've been experiencing for the past few days and few weeks. 54.5 inches of snowfall today here in Utica. That is more than what we saw what we've seen all year long last year. This is just around 2 inches less than the normal average we usually see, which means that this is not an atypical, more snowy winter than usual. This is a typical winter here in central New York. So it's just a bit of a shock compared to the past few years where we haven't really seen much of anything. But to our skycast, looking at the near-term forecast, we've got clouds moving through our region today, temperatures climbing into the mid-20s. By tonight, temperatures actually climb from the 20s into the 30s by the early morning hours for your Friday. So a big difference temperature-wise tomorrow morning compared to today. Then widespread rainfall rise by the afternoon. That switches over to wet snow by the evening commute. and this could produce some wet, heavy snow, some slushy roadways. But the snowfall accumulation for now doesn't appear to be significant due to the fact it's going to take a little bit for that snow to stick on the ground. But we'll keep you posted on the trend of that snowfall forecast. We'll have an official one potentially later today. Your 7-day forecast, roller coaster temperatures, 37 the high on Friday, 19 the high on Saturday, -1 for the overnight for the start of Groundhog Day. Gary?
Wow, crazy, up and down, up and
Yes.
down. Eric, thanks. Well, it's an infectious disease.
Central New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good Thursday morning, Central New York. Today, starting out quieter compared to the past few days, with still some lingering lake effect snow bands, but they are weaker than at least a few days past. Take a look at the radar and satellite right now, where we are tracking the end of this lake effect throughout the day today, at least the end of intense lake effect snow. In the meantime, we're going to start to see a slight shift to a southerly wind that will bring in warmer temperatures later on in the day today. But again, this morning, it's a cold start. Wind chills near 0 earlier on and remaining rather cold throughout much of the morning. So grab that large coffee, with temperatures starting out in the single digits, climbing into the teens by the mid-morning, eventually into the 20s by the afternoon. But you can see here those wind chills remaining in the teens for much of the day today, so still a cooler than average January, late January afternoon. Now, with the weather finally quieting down, we can just take a step back and recap what's been taking place over the past few days. 54.5 inches to date of snowfall on the ground. This is eclipsing what we experienced all of last year. So this is not even the start of February yet, and we already are approaching the typical season average of 56.6, or departure just 2 inches below average as of now. We actually went above average a few times so far this winter, but playing catch up right now seems a lot more reasonable compared to last year, which there was no way in the middle of, I would say, January, late January, we could catch up to that deficit. Now let's mention the forecasts over the next couple of days. Today, a few clouds to the south winding down, a few peaks of sunshine before clouds roll their way back in again this afternoon. On top of that, a lake effect snow band could produce some light flurries as that system passes to our north. Regardless, temperatures climb into the mid-20s by the afternoon and evening, and eventually into the 30s as we approach the overnight hours tonight, with skies clearing out and then temperatures warming back up in the mid to upper 30s by the afternoon on Friday. But then, as we take a look at what's going to take place for Friday afternoon, widespread rain switches over to wet snow. So if you are traveling in your evening commute Friday, you could expect some wet snow to start to fall, especially in some of those higher elevations that could produce some slushy roadways. Now, the snowfall accumulations in the valley might take a little bit longer, but those hilltops might be the higher concern. Regarding accumulations, well, the system will likely not produce a whole lot, at least initially, with that that widespread rain will prevent a lot of that snow from initially sticking on a lot of those surfaces. But regardless, 1 to 4 inches, generally speaking, will potentially have a more detailed map and more, I would say, confident map with the official forecast later on today and as early as tomorrow morning. Now, your 7-day forecast, we've got temperatures in the 20s today, up into the 30s by tomorrow. But look at these roller coaster temperatures. A high of 19 on Saturday, -1 Saturday night for the morning hours of Groundhog Day. 27 with snow showers, rain and snow mix on Monday, high of 39, down into the 20s by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week.
Honda of Yorkville is proud to serve those who serve with the second annual Thank a Veteran Breakfast, Saturday, February 15th at the Utica Elks Lodge. Every veteran in attendance will receive a free breakfast as a thank you for their service, a $10 donation for all non-veterans. Join us from 9 a.m. to noon for coffee, eggs, bacon, sausage, the works. All proceeds benefit the Utica Center for Development Veterans Outreach Center. The second annual Lead Car Honda of Yorkville Thank a Veteran Breakfast, brought to you by the Utica Elks Lodge number 33 and WKTV News Channel 2.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good Thursday morning, Central New York. Today, starting out quieter compared to the past few days, with still some lingering lake effect snow bands, but they are weaker than at least a few days past. Take a look at the radar and satellite right now, where we are tracking the end of this lake effect throughout the day today, at least the end of intense lake effect snow. In the meantime, we're going to start to see a slight shift to a southerly wind that will bring in warmer temperatures later on in the day today. But again, this morning, it's a cold start. Wind chills near zero earlier on and remaining rather cold throughout much of the morning. So grab that large coffee with temperatures starting out in the single digits, climbing into the teens by the mid-morning, eventually into the 20s by the afternoon. But you can see here those wind chills remaining in the teens for much of the day today, so still a cooler than average late January afternoon. Now, with the weather finally quieting down, we can just take a step back and recap what's been taking place over the past few days. 54.5 inches to date of snowfall on the ground. This is eclipsing what we experienced all of last year. So this is not even the start of February yet, and we already are approaching the typical season average of 56.6, or departure just 2 inches below average as of now. We actually went above average a few times so far this winter, but playing catch up right now seems a lot more reasonable compared to last year, which there was no way in the middle of, I would say, January, late January, we could catch up to that deficit. Now let's mention the forecast over the next couple of days. Today, a few clouds to the south winding down, a few peaks of sunshine before clouds roll their way back in again this afternoon. On top of that, a lake effect snow band could produce some light flurries as that system passes to our north. Regardless, temperatures climb into the mid-20s by the afternoon and evening, and eventually into the 30s as we approach the overnight hours tonight, with skies clearing out and then temperatures warming back up in the mid to upper 30s by the afternoon on Friday. But then, as we take a look at what's going to take place for Friday afternoon, widespread rain switches over to wet snow. So if you are traveling in your evening commute Friday, you could expect some wet snow to start to fall, especially in some of those higher elevations that could produce some slushy roadways. Now, the snowfall accumulations in the valley might take a little bit longer, but those hilltops might be the higher concern. Regarding accumulations, well, the system will likely not produce a whole lot, at least initially, with that widespread rain will prevent a lot of that snow from initially sticking on a lot of those surfaces. But regardless, 1 to 4 inches, generally speaking, we'll potentially have a more detailed map and more, I would say, confident map with the official forecast later on today and as early as tomorrow morning. Now, your 7-day forecast, we've got temperatures in the 20s today, up into the 30s by tomorrow. But look at these roller coaster temperatures. A high of 19 on Saturday, -1 Saturday night for the morning hours of Groundhog Day. 27 with snow showers. Rain and snow mix on Monday, high of 39, down into the 20s by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week.
This is Jerry Fiore, TV2 News.
Mohawk Valley's very own.
Good evening, I'm Kristen Copeland.
We love the place that we call home.
Good evening, everyone. We're following breaking news.
Cooperstown to Eagle Bay and Herkimer to Rome. We're Utica's very own. So here's to all the good friends who've been with us through the years, that warmed our souls with laughter, yeah, and shouldered all our tears. You know we're all somehow connected, like the words to some great song. We're Utica's very home. For years we've been together, and the best is yet to come.
Take care, everybody. Good night.
We're Utica's very own.
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good Thursday morning, Central New York. Today, starting out quieter compared to the past few days, with still some lingering lake effect snow bands, but they are weaker than at least a few days past. Take a look at the radar and satellite right now, where we are tracking the end of this lake effect throughout the day today, at least the end of intense lake effect snow. In the meantime, we're going to start to see a slight shift to a southerly wind that will bring in warmer temperatures later on in the day today. But again, this morning, it's a cold start. Wind chills near zero earlier on and remaining rather cold throughout much of the morning. So grab that large coffee with temperatures starting out in the single digits, climbing into the teens by the mid-morning, eventually into the 20s by the afternoon. But you can see here those wind chills remaining in the teens for much of the day today, so still a cooler than average January, late January afternoon. Now, with the weather finally quieting down, we can just take a step back and recap what's been taking place over the past few days. 54.5 inches to date of snowfall on the ground. This is eclipsing what we experienced all of last year. So this is not even the start of February yet, and we already are approaching the typical season average of 56.6, or departure just 2 inches below average as of now. We actually went above average a few times so far this winter, but playing catch up right now seems a lot more reasonable compared to last year, which there was no way in the middle of, I would say, January, late January, we could catch up to that deficit. Now let's mention the forecasts over the next couple of days. Today, a few clouds to the south winding down, a few peaks of sunshine before clouds roll their way back in again this afternoon. On top of that, a lake effect snow band could produce some light flurries as that system passes to our north. Regardless, temperatures climb into the mid-20s by the afternoon and evening, and eventually into the 30s as we approach the overnight hours tonight, with skies clearing out and then temperatures warming back up in the mid to upper 30s by the afternoon on Friday. But then, as we take a look at what's going to take place for Friday afternoon, widespread rain switches over to wet snow. So if you are traveling in your evening commute Friday, you could expect some wet snow to start to fall, especially in some of those higher elevations that could produce some slushy roadways. Now, the snowfall accumulations in the valley might take a little bit longer, but those hilltops might be the higher concern. Regarding accumulations, well, the system will likely not produce a whole lot, at least initially, with that that widespread rain will prevent a lot of that snow from initially sticking on a lot of those surfaces. But regardless, 1 to 4 inches, generally speaking, we'll potentially have a more detailed map and more, I would say, confident map with the official forecast later on today and as early as tomorrow morning. Now, your 7-day forecast, we've got temperatures in the 20s today, up into the 30s by tomorrow. But look at these roller coaster temperatures. A high of 19 on Saturday, -1 Saturday night for the morning hours of Groundhog Day. 27 with snow showers, rain and snow mix on Monday, high of 39, down into the 20s by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week.
Forecast now. Meteorologist Eric H. joins us on a little bit of a lighter note. A lot more sun today than we saw yesterday. The winds died down massively. I couldn't believe that last night.
Yeah, just very strong winds, snow squalls yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday was just a busy day of weather. It was nasty in the roadways here and there, but yeah, a bit of a quiet stretch, a much needed quiet stretch today. Let's take a look outside right now in Oneonta. As you mentioned, Ben, sun is shining in the City of the Hills as we speak. Here's a live look at Hartwick and SUNY Oneonta campuses early this afternoon. Temperature still of 19 degrees, so it's still a colder afternoon, but again, things are much more quiet. Around the state, those wind chills are still in the teens and low 20s in the Mohawk Valley, so we have climbed from the near zero, the wind chill early today. -7, though, still up in the North Country in some spots, so those winds are still a little breezy up north. The radar right now still looking mainly quiet. We are tracking the end of this lake effect snow band, which is shifting north and weakening. And it's no longer getting supply from numerous Great Lakes. So, of course, maybe a few flurries, and that's that. But again, this morning we started out cold. This afternoon in the 20s. By tonight, weather remains quiet. It actually warms up into the low 30s. And then we're tracking some rain, but that rain will be followed by potentially some wet snow and maybe a wintry mix that could have some impacts on your evening commute. We have the latest on that upcoming system in that full forecast. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. A Frankfurt woman is accused of duping the...
Download the Storm Tracker 2 app. free to install. Use the icons on the bottom to navigate between tabs. Get instant weather updates and alerts right on your phone. Storm Tracker 2, where we track storms.
It started as a way to raise awareness in our community, stopping at area schools and educating children. It grew into the largest fundraiser for missing and exploited children. But along the way, friends are made, goals are met, lives are changed. Is this the year you take part in the Ride for Missing Children? Log on today and become part of the team. The Ride for Missing Children, Mohawk Valley, Friday, June 6th.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sunshine has rolled through parts of our area. Quieter weather moved in as well. Temperature is still rather cold here in our region, but we'll see a slight warm-up as we head into this evening. Better yet, it's actually going to be warmer by 6 a.m. tomorrow than it is right now here this afternoon. A live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. We are tracking, of course, that snow band up to our northwest, shifting north and exiting our region. But notice to the southwest, this is a warm front that will be producing a few more clouds in the sky this afternoon. Maybe a few flurries, but if you're wondering about any impactful snow, this is not something that could produce that. There's a lot less forcing in the atmosphere from this. But let's look at the bigger picture here, because this is the leading edge of an actual system that might impact travel, and that will be the case potentially for tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. Let's take a look at what's going to be going on by Friday morning. It's actually Friday afternoon. Low pressure from the southwest drags into our area, produces widespread rainfall, maybe initially snow along that freezing line north of the region. Now, the path of the system still uncertain as to exactly where that low pressure center is going to be. And that, of course, plays a key role because all that rain and snow is along a narrow corridor. And if that shifts north or south, depending on your location, you might deal with something different. Regardless, the back side of the system will roll through, and you see that rain switch all over to snow as those temperatures fall below freezing. What does this mean regarding impacts? Well, let's take a look here on the Skycast. So today, sunshine, a few increasing clouds and flurries. Tonight, warming up into the mid-30s by tomorrow morning to tomorrow afternoon. Initially dry by the afternoon. Here comes that widespread rain. Again, the exact path of that still relatively uncertain, but I can tell you is at least most of us might encounter rain initially before this switches over to all snow. Notice here, it's snowing out, temperature 34, 33 degrees. It's still above freezing. I don't think initially there's going to be a lot of accumulation, but as long as we get heavier snowfall rates, that will overcome the warm air near the surface. So if we're talking about that forecast for snowfall, our initial official forecast calls for trace to 3 inches, and some hilltop locations, elevation driven, might see higher totals. But again, there's going to be drastic differences in accumulation totals. Someone you know that lives a town away from you is going to probably measure 3, 4, maybe 5 inches on a hilltop. Meanwhile, you might see little if any snowfall. So again, this system, very tricky to forecast, but for now, that's the latest regarding that rain and snow that arrives on Friday. Regardless, Saturday, mainly quiet, high of 19. A big change in the temperature. We're back down below freezing. A low of -1 for the morning of Groundhog Day, 27 for the high, and some snow showers. But we're back up into the upper 30s with rain and snow on Monday. So for now, we're still in the midst of wintertime, but our first time we'll get a coastal system in I don't know how long. We haven't had rain, consistent, steady rain in all of January.
And I think that's a good thing, though. I think that's a
good I think that's a great thing. In January, usually you want to see more snow than rain.
Especially with all the snow, especially up north that they've gotten. I feel like that
snow
can have some issues. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Eric. One family in Yancey. Good afternoon once again. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ben Kinney. In for Gary this noon.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
We've had some interesting winter weather the last few days. Nothing compared to this.
Of course, and a lot of folks watching probably remember the blizzard of 66. This is the surface map of the blizzard of 66. Let's take it full screen right now. You can see there's a giant low pressure. Back then it was all hand drawn with pencils and pens. it was not all digital back then. And of course, it allows you to look at the surface conditions and notice one thing is there's a strong low pressure here and some significant lake effect snow. That's where a lot of locations in the blizzard of 66 saw that intense snowfall. Camden, Rome, got a whole lot of snow. Actually, in Utica, it recorded 31 total inches of snow, which isn't as much as the Stella snowstorm, which is 37 inches. The blizzard of 66 held that record until 2017. But regardless, 59 years ago on this day is when the blizzard of 66 took place. Of course, now this afternoon, sunshine, no blizzard-like conditions, temperature at 21 degrees. And same thing in Rome as it is in Oneonta with 17 in Hamilton, 11 in Watertown. Still wind chills at -7 up in the Adirondacks, but regardless, those conditions will continue to warm up as we head into this evening and into tonight. The radar showing quiet weather here locally, a few flurries from lake effect coming to an end, and following this morning's chilly temperatures, we're up in the 20s this afternoon, warming up into the 30s tonight. By tomorrow morning, dry start, widespread rain moves in, but that rain will switch over to snow in the late evening, and that could cause some tricky travel in some spots. We have the latest in that snowfall forecast straight ahead. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. A restroom at a Colorado high school.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sunshine peeking out. Much different weather today compared to yesterday, that's for sure. A live look at downtown Utica right now, facing the western sky. Roadways clear, sun peeking out through the low-lying clouds, and main story here, mainly dry. A few flurries falling on the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. That's in that lake effect band, which is sweeping up to the north. But zooming out, we're seeing the arrival of a warm front. Now, this year isn't really going to produce anything impactful here locally. Maybe a few flurries mixing in, but what it will do is bring in more clouds as we approach the afternoon and evening. But let's take a look at the bigger picture, because beyond this afternoon, our next impactful weather maker arrives tomorrow. But this is not going to be a major system, just a bit of a shocker to our system, because we've been experiencing snowfall for so long that this is going to initially produce some rain, at least widespread rain, early in the afternoon. As we approach the evening, the backside of this low pressure drags in cold air. This cold front will produce wet snow by the evening, late evening, and early overnight before this system finally passes to our north and to our east. But let's focus on the skycast here. Let's see what's going to be taking place from tomorrow afternoon through tomorrow night. So again, today, clouds increase. Temperatures actually warm up overnight. The temperature tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. in the Mohawk Valley at 35 degrees is warmer than it'll be all day long here in this Thursday afternoon. Regardless, these temperatures remain in the mid to potentially upper 30s when this rainfall arrives tomorrow afternoon. Now, there is some uncertainty to the path of the system. There's a lot of factors at play here. This might shift north or south by a few miles. Of course, that plays a key role in who sees what regarding precipitation and the timing of it. But what I can tell you is I do think the confidence in anything producing meaningful accumulation by the evening is just not there, at least with this system. The roads are wet, they're covered in rain. On top of that, temperatures are still combating above freezing conditions. You have to have that temperature drop several degrees to see anything notable regarding 5, 6, 7 inches of snow on the ground. But for now, we do think there'll be some accumulation, and it'll be elevation driven, those hilltops that will cool faster than the valleys. So our initial official forecast calls for a trace of 3 inches by tomorrow afternoon through tomorrow night. Isolated spots might see higher totals. Again, this is all elevation based. Your friend who lives in higher elevation up on a hilltop might record 5 or 6 inches. Meanwhile, you might see little of none. So again, large differences in totals from the system. And the concern for that will be slushy roadways. This snow will be wet, clumpy, and dense as it falls when the rain switches over to snow. There's also potential for some freezing rain maybe tomorrow afternoon, depending on that location. But again, that's more of a nowcasting situation. Regardless, temperatures in the 30s tomorrow, down into the teens on Saturday, then rebounding into the 30s following Groundhog Day on Monday. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. We're back with News Talk and our...
This is Jerry Fiore, TV2 News.
Mohawk Valley's very own.
Good evening. I'm Kristen Copeland.
We love the place that we call home.
Good evening, everyone. We're following breaking news.
Cooperstown to Eagle Bay and Herkimer to Rome. We're Utica's very own. So here's to all the good friends who've been with us through the years, that warmed our souls with laughter, yeah, and shouldered all our tears. You know we're all somehow connected, like the words to some great song. We're Utica's very own. For years we've been together, and the best is yet to come.
Take care, everybody. Good night.
We're Utica's very own.
Central New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sunshine rolled through our area early today, and now we're seeing some clouds begin to move in from the southwest. Here's a look at the radar and satellite this afternoon. You can see here that blue, light blue, indicated by a warm front, is sweeping its way north, producing a few more clouds throughout the area and maybe a few flurries, but nothing impactful for your evening commute. That'll change, though, as we turn the page to tomorrow. Matter of fact, let's take a look at the bigger picture from tonight through tomorrow and eventually Saturday. So, again, today, quiet weather, high pressure in place, but watch this warm front drag in this low pressure from the southwest, and this will produce rain. Yes, we haven't seen a lot of rain here locally, but here we are with some rain showers that move their way into the region by tomorrow afternoon. It won't be all rain, though, or at least it won't be rain all day long. The backside of this low pressure will drag with it a cold front. This will produce eventual wet snow showers, in some spots heavier snowfall rates. And you're probably wondering, well, will this impact travel? Will this be at least a lot of snow? And we'll answer those questions as we take a look at the skycast right here. So let's zoom in. Here we are this afternoon. Clouds increase. Temperatures also increase overnight, believe it or not, with that warm front passage. We're up into the mid-30s by tomorrow afternoon for the start of your Friday. Then by Friday afternoon, here we are with the arrival of widespread rainfall. The path of the system is still somewhat uncertain, at least the exact path. We know it's arriving. We know we're going to see at least some spots see rain and then switch over to wet snow, but the locations of where that exact placement will be is still somewhat up in the air. Maybe a few miles north, a few miles south, but here's what we can confidently tell you is that it will initially start out as rain, potentially a few spots freezing rain, and then it'll switch over to wet snow by the late evening after sunset. Now notice here a lot of dark blues. This is something we have seen with other systems before, and you're maybe looking at this thinking, ooh, that's going to be some pretty busy, heavy snow impacting the evening commute. Well, for the most part, the initial round of the snow isn't going to stick to the ground. Look at those temperatures, 33, 34, lower elevations still remaining as rainfall. It's going to take a lot of snow to actually switch that over to accumulating snow on the ground. So wet roads, warm conditions, two factors that will limit accumulations across the board. So our official forecast for tomorrow calls for trace to 3 inches. Now you notice here this red text. Pockets of isolated locations might see higher totals. That's the case with all these types of elevation-based systems, where higher elevations will see a lot more than those valley locations. And so just a heads up that tomorrow there'll be wide-ranging versions of accumulations depending on spots. But for the most part, the lower elevation valleys will see a lot less of snowfall compared to those hilltop locations. And on top of that, the snow is going to be on the wet side and dense side. So with areas that will see accumulation, that snow will produce slushy roadways and overall potentially just some slick conditions. So just a heads up as you approach tomorrow evening. Regardless, then we have to mention that some locations will see conditions freeze as we head into Saturday morning, a high of 19 with a low 15 Friday night, a low of -1 as we turn the page to Groundhog Day. Sunshine turns to light snow showers, a high of 27, And then on Monday, mix of rain and snow, high of 39. Snow showers, at least scattered snow showers on Tuesday, a high of 25, remaining in the 20s for the middle of next week.
Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sunshine rolled through our area early today, and now we're seeing some clouds begin to move in from the southwest. Here's a look at the radar and satellite this afternoon. You can see here that blue, light blue, indicated by a warm front, is sweeping its way north, producing a few more clouds throughout the area and maybe a few flurries, but nothing impactful for your evening commute. That'll change, though, as we turn the page to tomorrow. Matter of fact, let's take a look at the bigger picture from tonight through tomorrow and eventually Saturday. So, again, today, quiet weather, high pressure in place, but watch this warm front drag in this low pressure from the southwest, and this will produce rain. Yes, we haven't seen a lot of rain here locally, but here we are with some rain showers that move their way into the region by tomorrow afternoon. It won't be all rain, though, or at least it won't be rain all day long. The backside of this low pressure will drag with it a cold front. This will produce eventual wet snow showers and some spots heavier snowfall rates. And you're probably wondering, well, will this impact travel? Will this be at least a lot of snow? And we'll answer those questions as we take a look at the skycast right here. So let's zoom in. Here we are this afternoon. Clouds increase. Temperatures also increase overnight, believe it or not, with that warm front passage. We're up into the mid-30s by tomorrow afternoon for the start of your Friday. Then by Friday afternoon, here we are with the arrival of widespread rainfall. The path of the system is still somewhat uncertain, at least the exact path. We know it's arriving. We know we're going to see at least some spots see rain and then the switch over to wet snow, but the locations of where that exact placement will be is still somewhat up in the air. Maybe a few miles north, a few miles south, but here's what we can confidently tell you is that it will initially start out as rain, potentially a few spots freezing rain, and then it'll switch over to wet snow by the late evening after sunset. Now notice here a lot of dark blues. This is something we have seen with other systems before, and you're maybe looking at this thinking, ooh, that's going to be some pretty busy, heavy snow impacting the evening commute. Well, for the most part, the initial round of the snow isn't going to stick to the ground. Look at those temperatures, 33, 34. Lower elevations still remaining as rainfall. It's going to take a lot of snow to actually switch that over to accumulating snow on the ground. So wet roads, warm conditions, two factors that will limit accumulations across the board. So our official forecast for tomorrow calls for trace to 3 inches. Now you notice here this red text. Pockets of isolated locations might see higher totals. That's the case with all these types of elevation-based systems, where higher elevations will see a lot more than those valley locations. And so just a heads up that tomorrow there'll be wide-ranging versions of accumulations depending on spots. But for the most part, the lower elevation valleys will see a lot less of snowfall compared to those hilltop locations. And on top of that, the snow is going to be on the wet side and dense side. So with areas that will see accumulation, that snow will produce slushy roadways and overall potentially just some slick conditions. So just a heads up as you approach tomorrow evening. Regardless, then we have to mention that some locations will see conditions freeze as we head into Saturday morning, a high of 19 with a low 15 Friday night. A low of -1 as we turn the page to Groundhog Day. Sunshine turns to light snow showers, a high of 27. And then on Monday, mix of rain and snow, high of 39. Snow showers, at least scattered snow showers on Tuesday, a high of 25, remaining in the 20s for the middle of next week.
Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis. Much nicer today. The sun was out.
Yeah, it's nice to see the sunshine. Always a bonus this time of the year. It's usually the cloudiest part of the year, but last couple of days, last several days, we've been getting a decent amount of sunshine. A warm front's moving through the region tonight, bringing with it a couple of flurries. Little accumulation is expected. So live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. A lot of what you're seeing on the radar is not making it to the ground. 26 degrees is the current temperature. Feels like 21. We do have a light south wind out there. Our weather headlines: the next weather system arrives tomorrow. It starts out as a cold rain. It turns over to snow late Friday, especially Friday evening, where snow is expected to accumulate. While we're not expecting a lot of accumulation, I think it's going to be pretty icy heading into Friday night as temperatures fall well below freezing. Temperatures hold steady, if not rise a few degrees this evening, a few flurries in the air. Again, tracking some snow accumulation for tomorrow. We're going to look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back over to you.
Bill, thank you. This week is National Catholic Schools Week, and Notre Dame is celebrating increased enrollment. There are about 600 students enrolled in Notre Dame, elementary through high school. 43 new students joined the school this year, and another 65 will join next school year.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. Cloudy skies have returned after seeing some sunshine earlier today. Let's take a live look in downtown Utica, a temperature of 26 degrees. A pretty nice day, all things considered. It is looking dry out there, but there's some snow flurries falling aloft, running into some dry air. You can't rule out a couple of flurries this evening. This light snow is being caused by a warm front, which will be pushing through tonight. It's going to help bring temperatures above freezing as we head into tomorrow morning. Your travel impact over the next 24 hours is dry tonight. We've got some rain developing tomorrow morning. That rain turns over to snow throughout the afternoon. In the evening time, the snow could be enough to impact travel. That continues into Friday night as temperatures fall below freezing. A lot of icy spots develop Friday night into early Saturday. The radar and satellite image shows, again, that warm front moving through. Again, looking like a pretty quiet night. And then we're watching this area of rain that's going to be moving north and east. As it interacts with some cold weather in place, some of that rain switches over to snow late Friday. Storm Tracker 2 Skycast tonight. It is mostly cloudy. Temperatures slowly rise. Friday morning, we start out the day dry. There could be a few very light rain showers, especially south of the Mohawk Valley. I think for the most part, temperatures will be above freezing. There might be a couple of spots south of the Mohawk Valley that may be right around 32 degrees, but I think just about all of us see a cold rain in the morning. It rains for the first part of the day through the early afternoon, and then as cold air works in from the north, rain switches over to snow. That looks to take place by 4 p.m. in the higher elevations, and then between 5 to 6 p.m. in the lower spots. So by 6 to 7 o'clock in the evening, it's all snow, and that snow only lasts for a couple of hours before coming to an end. Look at the temperatures, though. By Saturday morning, it is much colder. We're in the single digits, in some cases below zero, especially north. It's a cold Saturday, but again, I want to point out that as we fall below freezing Friday night, that could lead to lots of icy spots first thing Saturday morning. As far as snowfall goes, it's a general trace to 3 inches, and this is the lower elevations see an inch or two, the hilltops closer to 2 to 3 inches, and there may be a few isolated higher amounts, especially south of the Mohawk Valley. But again, the bigger concern is Friday night as this rain-snow mix encounters that colder air. This turns very icy. So slush turns icy, and if you don't get a chance to clean off the driveway Friday night, it could be pretty icy to clean off by Saturday morning. Mostly cloudy tonight, low temperature of 18. Tomorrow, rain changes to snow, 37 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Cold Saturday, 17. Light snow returns Sunday, 27. Another thaw on Monday with a rain-snow mix, 39. Colder Tuesday, and then temperatures warm up again. In fact, by next Thursday, could be talking about another rainfall with high temperatures close to 40 degrees. So temperatures are bouncing all over the place. Again, a few icy spots first thing Saturday morning.
It's like rolling the dice. You never know what's going to come up when it comes to the temperature, right?
Well, there you go. We got to keep up.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Bill. Well, do you have enough savings to cover 1,000? Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis for another check of the forecast.
All right, 59 years ago today, we were in the middle of the blizzard of 1966. This is a look back at the weather surface chart. 59 years ago today, you see this large area of low pressure to the north and east. This was a big wind maker, and it was a 4-day snowfall totaling 31 inches for the city of Utica. Higher amounts happened north and west of the Utica. In fact, some very heavy amounts up in areas like Camden and out towards Oswego where lake effect got involved. Again, this was a big wind maker too, and it lasted 4 days. We compare that to Stella, which was Utica's highest snowfall in any particular event. That was 33 inches, and most of Stella happened in 24 hours, but that also didn't have the wind. Every storm's a little different. And this is, again, a look back 59 years ago today. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Some flurries, some light snow showers showing up as a warm front is moving through. And again, this looks to be very light and not a big concern in terms of any slippery conditions out there this evening. Temperatures will remain in the 20s. If you're taking the dog out for a walk, it actually looks like a nice evening to get out. Lily from Barneveld is tonight's featured dog. We are tracking a rain-snow mix for tomorrow. A look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. Munson has a new exhibit opening tomorrow.
Moms need quiet time too. Get the WKTV golf card today.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We're tracking the next weather maker that arrives tomorrow. This brings a wintry mix, mostly rain and snow, as opposed to ice. A live look in Oneonta, where there's just a very faint glow of twilight, a temperature of 21 degrees, cloudy skies. We've been noticing a couple of flurries showing up from time to time. It's a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. There is a warm front moving through tonight, and it is possible that it could give us a few flurries, but that's about it. A lot of this is moving through soon, and it's expected to stay cloudy, and temperatures are expected to warm up as we head into tonight. Slushy conditions. If you're looking to enjoy winter sports this weekend, beginning tomorrow, the snow will be very soft and slushy with temperatures above freezing and a cold rain. Saturday and Sunday, temperatures fall below freezing, well below freezing Saturday. Everything turns very icy, so conditions will be very slick, very slippery. Just something to consider if you're going to be, again, enjoying winter sports this weekend. Skywatchers checking in. Temperatures in the 20s. Whitesboro 22, Clinton 27, Mike in New Hartford 26, Jeff in Mohawk 27, Norway 24, Westford checking in with 22. The next area of low pressure is on the way. This one is going to bring rain turning over to snow as it jogs to our south. We'll be on the northern fringe of this system. Storm Tracker 2 Skycast. Temperatures slowly rise tonight. By tomorrow morning, we're expecting most areas to be above freezing. It's a dry start to the day, but there will be some light rain that breaks out in the morning. It's a cold rain, too, with temperatures in the mid-30s. 1 o'clock Friday, generally rain. Rain turns to snow as colder air works in from the north. The snow is going to have a hard time accumulating at first, with temperatures above freezing even by 4 p.m. But eventually, the snow will stick, and then it comes to an end pretty quickly by Friday late evening. A lot of the snow is over with before midnight. And then check this out. Temperatures Saturday morning, cold, in the single digits to below zero. A cold Saturday afternoon with plenty of sunshine. With that in mind, a slushy inch or two of accumulation takes place as we head into Friday evening and Friday night. And with temperatures falling below freezing, it's going to be very icy. We're expecting a freeze to take place Friday night and very icy conditions through Saturday morning. The general idea with this map is that the lower elevations see maybe an inch or two of accumulation, 2, 3, maybe 4 inches of snow possible on some of those higher hilltops south of the Mohawk Valley. Another one of those elevation-driven snowfalls, which we actually haven't seen too much of lately because temperatures have been very cold. Mostly cloudy tonight, 18. Tomorrow, rain changing to snow, 37 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Cold Saturday. We're back to the 20s, though, on Sunday with some light snow. A rain-snow mix returns Monday, 39. Colder Tuesday, lake effect snow showers. Cloudy Wednesday. And then a cold rain again. Looking ahead to Thursday with a high temperature of 40. We'll be right back.
For a first look at the forecast at 6 with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Yeah, we're tracking some pretty quiet weather across central New York tonight. We've got a few flurries out there. This is a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. This is a push of warm air. It's the leading edge of a warm front, and the weather looks pretty quiet tonight. Current temperature 26 degrees. It feels like 18 with a light breeze. So a pretty cold day, but it's been relatively quiet compared to the weather earlier this week. Rain arrives Friday morning. That's going to be our next weather maker. This rain turns to snow heading into Friday during the late afternoon to early evening. There will be some accumulation, but the bigger story looks to be widespread ice that happens as temperatures fall well below freezing Friday night. So some slushy snow combined with some Arctic air could make things very slippery by Saturday morning. Flurries in the air this evening, otherwise pretty quiet. Temperatures in the 20s. We are tracking some snow accumulation. I've got to look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. After 87 years.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Pretty nice day here for January standards, but the weather's going to change tomorrow. We've got rain on the way, and that does turn over to some snow. Let's take a live look in downtown Utica. If you're traveling this evening, the weather looks fine. Roads are dry. You've seen a few flurries in the air from a warm front, but it really hasn't caused very much issue here. Today marks the 59th anniversary of the blizzard of '66. It was a 4-day event, but this is when things were really starting to come together. This is all based on a nor'easter that sat to the northeast, and it brought plenty of snow. In fact, some of this was lake effect snow. Again, over 4 days, 31 inches of snow accumulated in the city of Utica. That was the record snowfall from any one particular event up until March of 2017. That's when we saw Stella. That 33 inches from Stella happened, most of it happened in just 1 day. But again, this was a big storm. There was a lot of wind with it, and it also had heavier snow, much heavier snow, north and west, closer to Lake Ontario. Again, 59 years ago today. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. A couple of flurries out there. The weather looks quiet tonight. Tomorrow morning, there will be some rain developing. Rain turns to snow in the afternoon, and it's not until the evening that travel really starts to get impacted as snow is expected to fall, and it does accumulate just enough to make things slippery here for Friday evening. The Sky Watchers checking in. Whitesboro 22 degrees, Barneveld 21, Norway with 24 degrees, and Milford, Mark checks in with 24. Low pressure moves in from the southwest tonight. It's producing rain now in Kentucky, but by the time it gets here, it will be encountering some colder air. And the rain breaks out tomorrow morning. We start out with temperatures in the mid-30s. We're generally dry overnight. Some light rain takes place in the morning time. There could be a few pockets of freezing rain across the very southern part of Otsego and Chenango County. It doesn't look to last very long. We're expecting temperatures to warm up. We'll be in the mid-30s Friday afternoon with a cold rain. This does turn over to snow Friday evening as colder air works in from the north. Look at the temperatures here. We're still above freezing even by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so the snow has a hard time sticking. And then it comes to an end. Check out these temperatures. By Saturday morning, it's cold. We're in the single digits to below zero, a cold Saturday afternoon. Snowfall accumulation, a trace to 3 inches. Numbers all over the place, mainly because of elevation. The lower spots only see a trace to 1 inch or 2. The higher spots closer to 2 to 3 inches. And again, more importantly, this slushy snow turns very icy Friday night as temperatures fall below freezing. And if you don't get a chance to clear this off Friday evening, it looks to be an icy mess first thing Saturday morning. Mostly cloudy tonight, 18 for the overnight low. Tomorrow, rain changes to snow, 37. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Cold, dry Saturday, 17. Snow showers Sunday, 27. Rain and snow showers Monday, 39. Light snow Tuesday. Another rain event by next Thursday with high temperatures near 40. So we've got a few thaws ahead of us.
Mixed bag, if you will.
Yeah.
All righty. Thank you, Bill. Still to come on News Channel 2 at 6, the comments.
With Jason Palace.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. One person suffered burns and was taken to the hospital during a house fire on Oswego. Time now for our first look at the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis. What do you got here? This is a different graphic.
Going up, going down, going up. This is pothole-making weather.
Ooh, yes it is.
Going above freezing, below freezing, above freezing, and we have moisture, we have rain, we have snow. That works into all the cracks, and then when it freezes, it expands, so yeah.
DPWs everywhere are going to have to load up.
Yeah, and just pack your patience and understand that that's the kind of weather pattern that we are in. Let's talk about the weather makers. So we've got this weather system coming in tomorrow. It starts out as rain, and then it turns over to snow. Speaking of snow, today marks an anniversary. 59 years ago today, the blizzard of 1966 was in full swing. This was one of the largest snowfalls this area has ever had, only rivaling Superstorm Stella, which was only 2 inches more than the blizzard of 1966. Places to the north and west got more snow than Utica with this storm, and there was a lot of wind with it. Live look outside, 25 degrees, clear skies, an east wind at 10 miles an hour. We'll stay dry overnight. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Clouds will thicken up again. We've got some rain coming in tomorrow. That does turn over to snow. We've got to look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. New tonight, the Utica School Board of Education held a special...
Get your WKTV golf cart today.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We're taking a live look at downtown Utica. Pretty quiet night tonight. The weather remains dry overnight, and then some rain moves in first thing Friday morning. Temperature of 25 degrees, but we're expecting temperatures to rise tonight. In fact, we'll be above freezing before daybreak tomorrow. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Again, all is quiet. Let's talk about travel impacts. Tonight's dry, no issues on the roadways. Rain develops tomorrow morning. Rain turns to snow tomorrow afternoon. That's when it starts to impact travel. Tomorrow evening can be a little bit tricky. We've got some slushy roads, some snow. Not really heavy, but enough to make things slippery. Your evening drive home is expected to be a little bit tricky, especially if you're getting home after dark. The weather looks better for sledding over the weekend. A little bit slushy if you're heading out tomorrow, but by the time we head into Saturday and Sunday, temperatures fall below freezing, and any slush will turn to ice. So it will be pretty icy to get out and ski or snowmobile heading into the weekend, but we do have favorable weather, at least dry weather, as we head into Saturday afternoon with some snow Sunday. The next weather system moves in from the southwest. This area of low pressure will be arriving tomorrow. Again, it is encountering some cold air, but it also brings some warm air with it. In fact, temperatures start out in the mid-30s tomorrow morning. A cold rain is expected to develop heading into the afternoon. As the storm heads to the east, the winds turn into the north. It does drag in some cold weather as we get into tomorrow evening. That means rain turns to snow, and then the system zips to the east. In terms of accumulation, we're thinking a general trace to 3 inches across most of the area. The lower elevations closer to that trace to 1 inch zone, higher elevations more like 2 to 3 inches. The other thing to keep in mind, as we head into Friday evening, temperatures free fall will fall well below freezing, and I think there's going to be a lot of icy conditions that develop Friday night into Saturday. So even though there won't be a whole lot of snow, it could make things very messy, especially if you're cleaning up Saturday morning. Mostly cloudy tonight, low temperature of 18 tomorrow. Rain changes to snow, 37 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. It's cold Saturday, a high of 17. We are below zero Saturday night, 4 below zero. Groundhog Day, 27 degrees, a little bit of light snow, rain and snow showers mixed Monday, colder Tuesday, and then another thaw on the horizon looking ahead to the next Thursday.
Is there anything, I kind of zoned out for a minute, so maybe if you already said it, I apologize, but what's causing this up and down ripple effect here where we're like, hey, it's melting, no, it's freezing? I mean, it's...
Well, so we're right, the jet stream's pretty much over us, so every time there's any sort of a ripple, that's what's causing all the changes.
Ah, and you didn't already say that, did you?
No, I didn't.
Cool. Coming up next, imagine getting the chance. Time for our first look at the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis. Yeah, this is actually a fun graphic because, well, it's not fun if you're driving.
Well,
explain.
This is a pothole-making forecast here. You're talking about temperatures above freezing, below freezing, above freezing. We start to get into this thaw-freeze pattern, which we really haven't seen much of. In January, it's been below freezing. This also comes at a cost not only with potholes, but also with some slippery spots. We've got our next weather maker that arrives tomorrow. Before we talk about that, let's take a look back. 59 years ago today was the blizzard of 1966. It was a 4-day event, but this is the day it was really getting its act together. An area of low pressure, a nor'easter to the north and east, was bringing heavy snow, very strong winds, and there was some lake effect snow as well. The snowfall total in Utica was 31 inches. It was higher north and west, as high as 65 inches in the northern part of Oneida County. And again, with the wind, it made things legendary in terms of snow drifts and whiteouts. Our current temperature, 25 degrees, clear skies and east wind. It's dry out there and it remains dry tonight. Overnight lows will be in the mid-20s. We're going to warm up throughout the course of tonight. We've got some rain on the way for tomorrow. It does end in some snow. We're going to look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. New tonight, the Utica School Board.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. Welcome back. We are taking a live look in downtown Utica. It's a pretty quiet night out there. Temperature of 25 degrees. Will stay dry overnight. Temperatures will hold steady, if not rise a few degrees as we head towards tomorrow morning. And again, we will have a dry morning commute for the most part. This is how the next weather system that arrives tomorrow impacts travel. Again, we're dry tonight. Rain develops tomorrow morning. Again, I think it's going to be after the morning commute for most areas. Rain will turn to snow in the afternoon, and by the evening time, I think this is when it starts to really impact travel. A slushy inch or two of accumulation, especially along higher terrain, could be just enough to make the roads slippery. The snow looks slushy tomorrow. If you're enjoying winter activities, snowmobiling, skiing, snowshoeing, again, the snow looks to be slushy with temperatures above freezing. It turns icy over the weekend as the slush freezes over, and it's going to be a widespread freeze throughout the weekend. A little bit of light snow on Sunday. Sunday looks to be the better of the 2 days to get out and enjoy any winter activities. Next area of low pressure moves in from the south. It's bringing rain, at least initially, but then some colder air will switch that rain over to snow. Storm Tracker 2 Skycast tonight. We're dry. Overnight lows, well, they're actually going to rise throughout the night. We'll be in the mid-30s tomorrow morning. Light rain develops, becoming steadier throughout the day. Temperatures in the mid-30s in the afternoon. Rain turns to snow late in the day as colder air works in from the north as the area of low pressure heads east. Again, that wind direction will cause a changeover to take place. And again, there could be a few slippery spots Friday evening before things come to an end. Look at how cold it gets Saturday morning. We go from above freezing to the single digits to below zero. This is going to have a pretty high impact on surface conditions. Any untreated surfaces get very slippery Friday night into Saturday. Be very careful heading out Saturday morning. We are dry Saturday afternoon, but it's cold with temperatures in the teens. Snowfall accumulation, we're not expecting much here. A slushy inch or two of accumulation. To higher elevations could see 3 inches or more. But again, it's that freeze that takes place Friday night that can make things very slippery. And also, too, this type of snow, it's that slushy type. So even an inch of snow could still have a pretty significant impact on travel. Mostly cloudy tonight, low temperature of 18. Tomorrow, rain turns to snow, 37 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. We get into this back and forth with temperatures here. We're 17 Saturday, 27 Sunday, 39 on Monday, some light snow Sunday, rain and snow Monday, and then we're bent down into the 20s Tuesday, only to go back up to near 40 as we look ahead to Thursday. In fact, later next week, a pretty strong signal that we could have maybe an extended thaw on the horizon.
Wow. Like you said, it's the pothole weather. It's